All right, welcome back to the Woman Control to Experience radio show live here on Facebook, on our Facebook page. We're sorry we don't have an Instagram live on there. We'll try to get it resolved for next week. My guest is here. He's the founder of Survival to Success, the founder of Hurt, Heal, and Grow. He's also the moderator of One King to Another. I think he has a women's program for women as well. He's also an author. So let's give it for Mr. George. I say your last name. George Walley-Sephes. All right. So I'm scared to say your name. Yeah. So first of all, George, thank you for being part of the show. I've been we connected since last year. We met at Kala's event a couple years ago, and we stay connected. And you came through from my grandma go last year. We stay connected ever since. So first of all, how are you? How are you?
Man, I'm doing great. I'm just happy to be here, blessed, and I really appreciate the introduction too. You did a better job than I did. I can't even remember all that.
Yeah. So basically talking before we're live about how your week was, how we are promoting mental health. Hey, Patricia, how you doing, Patricia? One of our biggest supporters of the show. Patricia, real quick, I need your girls for June 19th. I'm trying to do a youth forum. I need your girls to be on my show. So we're going to talk outside of the but I definitely need your girls. Oh, you heard what I said. So, but, we're talking about mental health and how important it is to work on yourself. I spoke on it earlier about mental health and about how important it is to take care of yourself and work on yourself daily, because it's basically after you are in the process of recording right now, and I'm just got married, and all the issues will probably be exposed 10 times 10, and I told people it's never wrong to get help. It's never wrong getting therapy, and nothing wrong find out what you can do to cope with that. It doesn't have to be one-on-one. It could be art therapy, dance, or yoga, or meditation help you get through that, So I'm a big proponent of that, and y'all talk about that in your organization too. So before we get into that, who is George Walley-Sephes? Who is he?
I would say first and foremost, I'm a man of God.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a father. And then I'm a philanthropist, community leader, activist, youth activist. But at the end of the day, it's all about doing what God wants me to do, and making sure that I'm just in alignment with what He has in store for me. Making sure that I'm fulfilling everything that He wrote about me within my book of life, and just going out and making an impact. And just glorify God through the work that I'm doing in my nonprofit, and just everyday life.
Okay. So who was George growing up? Who was he growing up?
That's interesting because that's literally the question that I always ask other people. I don't know if you know this, and even in my journal, that's usually how I usually ask people. I ask them who they are, and I ask them how they kind of came to be that person. So I don't usually get asked that question.
Right.
I would say I grew up in Southwest Philadelphia. Born and raised. I was the single child for a long period of time until I was about 16 years old. And I always like to say I never really learned to love who I was at a young age. I was always the type of kid who was seeking attention and outside of myself. Being the only kid for as long as I was, I didn't really get much attention from my parents. They had their own stuff going on. They took care of me, but we didn't really have that close relationship. With the conversations that I really needed to have in order to understand who I was. And so I was always looking for that attention elsewhere. And I feel it was a long time until I was about 22 years old until I realized who I really was as a person. It took, me being a teen parent at the age of 17.
Oh, wow.
First son.
Wow.
I had him when I was 17.
17.
Taught me a lot.
What was that like? Being 17, what was it your senior year of high school, or?
I was going into my senior year.
Going into senior, okay.
I was going into my senior year, and I had the type of mentality at first, I wasn't really prepared for a son at all. And in fact, I didn't want my son. I wanted to have an abortion at first.
Oh, wow.
And so, after, multiple conversations back and forth, I had experienced that. And I decided that, you know, I was just going to be the best father that I can be. And I didn't really look at it as a barrier. I didn't want to, you know, because I know a lot of times people look at having a child at a young age as a barrier, but I looked at it as a blessing because it really encouraged me to mature at a young age. And it encouraged me to step up to the plate, and I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for, you know, my son, you know, because I really had to look internally for myself, and I really had to focus on just making sure that I was in a position to provide for my family. But I will say that led me to really get caught up in like that survival mode, and what I mean by that is I was solely focused on providing. And I lost sight of who I was. Like before, you know, having my son, and even during, like I was a youth leader, like I was in programs, you know, with the Urban Nutrition Initiative, educating on like the food justice movement, educating on like different issues that's going on. And I was really passionate about those issues. And so I would go to conferences, and, you know, I went to a different country, you know, to go to a conference, and I lost sight of that after having my son and going away to college and stuff. Like, I really lost sight of that because I was so focused on making sure that I can provide. I lost sight of who I was, and I feel like that's the case for a lot of us in our community. We get so caught up in trying to survive and making sure that we're providing for our families, making sure that we got enough food on the table, making sure that we can do the things that we want to do, and we lose sight of our actual purpose and our actual passion and the things that God wants us to do.
Right. So you say you went to college with your son. You went on campus, or you?
Yeah, so my first year, I decided that I wanted to go away to school on campus, and I would come home on the weekends.
Got you.
And, you know, my children's mom and my son, they were at my house, and I would come home on the weekends.
Right.
And I really wanted to get that experience because I knew I was still immature. You know what I mean? It was like I wanted to experience the college life. And I thought to myself, like, I don't want to have resentment in my heart towards my family because I didn't get the opportunity to do things that I wanted to do. And it caused a lot of barriers in our relationship. You know what I mean? It caused some walls to be put up. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I'm still glad that I took that route. You know, and after the first year, I realized that I wasn't missing anything. You know what I mean? I wasn't missing anything at all. The only thing I was missing out on was my family.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so that, once again, it was the experience that I needed. Tell me to understand what it really means to be a father and the importance of family. You know what I mean?
Right. So you finished that year? You finished college or no?
After my first year, I went back home and I just commuted, and I graduated from New University in 2017. I got a degree in psychology. I had a minor in philosophy, and I'm getting ready to go back to school in August.
Oh, wow, wonderful.
At Temple for Africology and African American Studies.
Oh, for grad school?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Congratulations on that. So, yes. So now you're a father. Now you're a father, and you know, at 17, went to college, graduated from college. You know, just still in. You know, that's a testimony itself. You know, a lot of times we have children, it stops you from your dreams. You know, you have to put that hold in until your child and daughter gets a certain age. You know, that now. But you did it while your son was still developing. You know, that's a blessing. So what led you to starting? I think when I first met you, I think the Survival was already started already, or in the midst of starting, or what was you decided to start the organization?
Yeah. So when I met you, I was in idea mode.
Okay.
Like I had the name Survival to Success.
Right.
I was working on it. I was trying to figure out what direction I was going. But everything was still coming together, you know. But I first came up with the idea because after I had my second child, when I was like, I think I was 23 when I had him.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And after having him, you know, I was working like 80 hours a week at one time. I had an internship. I was working overnight, and I had a full-time job during the day.
Wow.
And so, like, it was easy for me, like, because I felt like, okay, I'm providing for my family, you know, and I was just focused, you know what I mean, and it didn't really require much. It required my time, you know what I mean. But when we get so focused on, like, it's just we be on autopilot, and so it didn't really bother me, you know what I mean, until I actually took the time to let it bother me, you know what I mean. Like a lot of times we put so many different mask on, we have so many different distractions around us that we don't really take the time to really think about how we feel. And I really remember sitting and reflecting one day, and I was like, I'm nowhere near where I wanted to be at this age. You know, like I had expected myself to be making a difference in the community,
right.
You know, doing activism work,
Mm-hmm.
and I wasn't doing any of that. And I realized that I was stuck. Like I felt stuck where I was at. And I'm looking around and I'm thinking like, I'm not the only person who feels like that. Like literally that's our entire community.
Right.
Like our entire community is just like on autopilot. Like we're just working hard.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And we're not even focused. We're not even working towards our purpose or towards our passion. We're working for other people.
Right.
Trying to provide for ourselves. And we're not even realizing the fact that we're missing out on so much internally because we're so focused on what's going on externally. If that makes sense. And so I was like, it started off as me wanting to educate youth on financial literacy,
right.
Educate youth on like mental health, because I started looking up different motivational speakers, and I was like, well, why didn't I learn about these people when I was in high school?
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to introduce youth to people like that, you know what I mean, and educate them on those people. But when I went into the classroom and I did my first workshop, like the youth was dead. Like they wasn't paying attention, they wasn't engaged, and I realized that the main reason was because they got so much stuff going on at home.
Mm-hmm.
They got so much trauma that's going on.
Yeah, meet them where they are.
Right. They're not focused on you know, what this person is doing or what that person is doing or their future too much because they have so much trauma and things that they're going on at home. And so that's when I had to make an entire 360, and I started basing my nonprofit around trauma, and educating, you know, youth on trauma, the effects that it's had on them, how to heal and grow from it. And trying to address not just the youth, but also the parents as well.
Yeah.
And just providing just a safe haven for our community to have those type of conversations
right.
and share those stories.
Right. Yeah, I think that's one of the things that I started Paddock Radio Song was kind of like you said, meeting them where they are. Because I know my first experiences, like, they were not paying attention. They were off doing their own thing, their cell phones, but once we change our approach about, okay, what we're going to talk about that's going to affect them, that meet them where they are, issues about where they at. So it changed because the kids saw our dedication, saw our commitment, and they saw a story and saw a turnaround, you know what I mean? Plus, we had support system from schools we worked at, you know, and the kids, they wanted us to be there. It was like, because like you said, like we saw mental health like Bobby, I think sessions were I think a couple years ago. So like, cause I didn't know what mental health is. I didn't know what it was, but we did mental health 101. Okay, what's mental health? It was blew my mind. Fifth graders knew more stuff than I did. I was like, dang, okay, I didn't get on this, you know. But it kind of opened eyes because our youth going for a lot, and I did mental health sessions last summer for my job. We did mental health. I did mental health every Monday. So basically, it was virtual because it was good. We had different speakers on there. But the good thing is, I'm excited to do this summer. I'll be in person with them. So that's really gonna be good because I want to see what's going on here. I can name the face. I can connect them with them. You know what I mean? I can be vulnerable. I can be more vulnerable with them. You know, because we're gonna work with kids that probably been home for a whole entire year, not even doing the hybrid thing. They've been home year plus. You know, all those emotions. You know, but I'm excited about it. You know, mental health is a serious thing. I wish I knew about high school too and about going to college. I think a lot of issues will be resolved issue, and I dealt with that at that time instead of me carrying it and put it on the rug. So, yeah. So
I think that like it's so like you said, like we really don't realize how much our youth go through. The trauma that they experience. Like a lot of times, I feel like we have this attitude like they're young or they don't know anything or they don't go through anything. And it's like they're going through more than what we're dealing through. For the most part, like
right.
We're dealing with so much internally. Like we gotta understand, like most youth, they're not getting what they need at home.
Right.
And a lot of parents, including myself, don't want to, say that. Like we don't want to acknowledge that. But the fact of the matter is that a lot of times we're not feeding our children mentally, spiritually, and emotionally at home.
And it's sad. Yeah, it's sad because like I work with kids at Access Center, and you know. My kids, they know more about YouTube and other stuff than actual schoolwork. It's been like you could, and then I remember a couple weeks ago we was on we was working with the kids one on we're going to Amy well, and one of our staff members got COVID, so we had to work from home for 10 days. So we were from home. So and I set up like our sessions with the kids Monday, Wednesday, forget it, Monday, a whole week for 1 hour to get on 1 hour, one day just to talk to us. The other kids got on. So I was like, no. And then I remember a teacher called me. They was like, what happened to the kids? What covered our students? They were twins. They were like, why they hadn't been on? I'm like, since last Tuesday. I'm like, interesting. So my thing was like the parents so feeding us that they forgot they were still in school. They thought when we shut down, they were shut down. Like, no, y'all still at school. Like, you can do work from home. You know what I mean? So it wasn't like, okay, like, we can't help it because, like, we are done more, we are gone beyond and beyond what we do as kids because we do stuff that we shouldn't be doing, like one-on-one, you know what I mean? Like, you know, just help them. Like, I bought like flashcards, everything. Like, try to help them because all these kids don't know because you know what I mean. They don't know. They don't get that stuff at home. You know what I mean? So it's a lot. You know, and that's definitely. I'm looking forward to summertime, the fall, getting back in the swing with Path of Greatness. You know, being in person more. You know, because I definitely want to have those sessions. You know, just get where they at, you know, find out where they at, you know, just see how it's going with them and just find out how we can help them get through this because that school is going to be crazy. They'll be back at school and we're going to try to prepare them for that next step, you know what I mean, how to get through this, you know what I mean? So hopefully the schools will support us going forward. So it's about success. Now you started Hurt, Heal, and Grow. What's that about?
So Hurt, Heal, and Grow is an online magazine that I
magazine, that's right, magazine.
To share experiences of human trauma within the Black community, along with information on like financial literacy, health and wellness, entrepreneurship. And that started out because I was going to do a book. I was going to actually create a book sharing stories about people's trauma and how they healed from it, and how they came to be who they are today. But I realized that I don't want to just do one book. Like, I want it to be a consistent thing.
Right.
And so I was like, well, why don't I just do a magazine? You know, like an online magazine where every month I'm putting out new stories and sharing different experiences, and just encouraging our community to heal. You know what I mean? And I wanted to make sure that price wasn't an issue, so I made sure it was a pay what you can magazine. So it's something where people can just go on the website, pay as little as $1, and get the magazine sent to them. And thank you for being a part of it.
I'll continue to be a part of it too. I will definitely continue to be a part of it.
My guy's definitely been such a huge part in submitting articles every month. And yeah, it's just been a great experience because I love storytelling. Is such an important part of our community that we don't do enough of. Once again, because we're so focused on work, we're so focused on just autopilot, doing the daily things of life. We don't actually take the time to just sit down and get to know people for who they are. A lot of times we just see people on the surface, or what they present to us, what they show on social media. But there's so much more to people. There's so much more to each and every one of us. And we really have to take the time to start getting to know people for their stories, the things that have affected them, how it is that they heal from it, and seeing how it is that we can learn from one another through our experiences.
Right. I agree. I would definitely continue to be part of that magazine because I have some stories. But now I'm going to change it up a little bit. So I'm definitely share my experiences in terms of like being Asset Center, for a whole year because that was a whole experience right there. Just what I dealt with the whole 10 months there. You know what I mean? It was a definitely unique experience for me. And so. Can you talk about One King to Another and also the women's platform you started as well?
Yeah, and so From One King to Another is an extension of Survival to Success. It's like one of our community engagement programs where we just bring men together to have different conversations around mental health, around relationships, financial literacy, gun violence, everything that we need in order to heal ourselves, our families, and our communities. And I wanted to do. It started off as something called the Fellow Father Circle. That's what it started.
Right.
And I realized that I really wanted to open it up to all men. You know what I mean? Especially young men. And so right now, I'm really in the process of figuring out how it is that I can just benefit the men in the group. And we're getting ready to have a bonfire at the end of the month. I believe it's June 26th, that Saturday night at 8 p.m. Where we'll be down at Schuylkill Banks and bringing them in together, to have some serious conversations, have some food, have some laughs, but really just have some serious conversations around what we need to do within ourselves in order to be the men of God that God has called us to be. And so I'm really excited about that. And I do have a sister program for it as well, called From One Queen to Another. That was ran by a friend of mine, Andrea Harrison. And so right now, once again, that's kind of still being built up, trying to get that to a place where it's consistent. But right now, like, it's really just, like I said, we're in a process of just figuring out how it is that we can be a benefit to our community, and what men and what the women in our community actually need. So I'm excited, I'm excited because a lot of times we need this in our community. Like especially our men and our women, like we don't really, especially as men, like we don't have too many places where we come together and are able to talk with one another and be vulnerable with one another.
Right.
And so I think it's really important for us to, create those type of spaces for, men and the women in our community.
Wow. Yeah, I love that. Because I'll tell you, I used to do man talk and a couple of years ago, and it was a huge success. And I did actually man talk in my schools. For young eighth grade boys, and that was really deep, And last summer I did man talk sessions for the boys because the job got a grant to do something for the girls. They had a contract something to do with the girls, and I was like, we do the one for the guys. Make it fair. Let's do one for the guys, and the guys really, the young men really benefit from it virtually. That's one thing I'll bring back in the summertime. If we can do some mid sessions, I can definitely invite y'all to come out if y'all allowed to come out. You know what I mean? Because I know it's gonna be. I want young men to be healed and basically to work on themselves now and not carry those traumas into 18. You know what I mean? Like adult, your decisions affect everything you do. So, lastly. So now you're author. So let's name your book.
Yeah, I don't talk about my books enough. I really don't. I really have to do a better job of talking about my books because I really don't talk about them too much. But I am an author as well. I have an ebook called Survival to Success, Healing the Black Community, where I talk about. It's a really short read. It's free. You can get it from the website. Just put your email in for the newsletter, and I'll send the book right to you. But it's really about 3 steps that we need to take within ourselves in order to break the cycle of survival, within our communities. And those 3 steps being acknowledgement, first and foremost, reflection, and transformation. And what I mean by that is, first and foremost, we have to get to a place of acknowledgement where we acknowledge who we are, we acknowledge the state that we're in, we acknowledge the state that our community is in. And then we got to take the time to reflect and understand how do we get to this point?
Right.
How do we get to where we are today? How did our community get to the point where it's today? And what is my role in addressing these different issues that's going on? What gifts have God given me that I can use to benefit somebody else? And then the transformation, which is the major part. And the hardest part is actually transforming yourself and putting yourself in a position where you can be effective. Where you can actually do the things that God has told you to do. It's a lot of things that, and I know for myself, there's been a lot of things that's been stripped away from me that I had to go through, that I had to get taken away from me in order for me to be a benefit to somebody else.
Right.
I had to get focused on my relationship with God. I had to, my abstinence journey, and that was another thing, me getting focused on God, getting focused on the different things that I want to do, preparing myself to run a nonprofit, preparing myself to be available to people emotionally, spiritually, financially. Like, that's a process. And a lot of us, we're not at a place where we can be that for other people, So I always like to say it's so important that we take care of ourselves so that we can take care of other people. And in order for us to do that, we have to go through that transformation process and understanding the things that's hurt us, what it is that we need to heal from, and you know what our purpose is, what our gifts are, and just really making sure that we're in the right space so that way we can be a benefit to our families and our communities.
Yeah, yes, indeed. Yep, that's what's important. I think that transformation is the most important part, because you can get all the knowledge you want, you can take in the knowledge, and then you don't transform. What's the point? You're not changing, not seeing the results of that. That's very important. So, George, where people can find you for more information about your business, your books, your magazine.
So you can go to survivaltosuccess.org.
Okay.
Is where you can get all the information on the nonprofit, all the information on the youth program, all the information on the magazine. I actually just published the May issue yesterday.
Oh, you did?
So
Okay.
that is officially available. If you yourself have a story that you would like to share, or you would like to be, you know, a contributor to the article, you know, doing a column every month, like contact me. You can email me at info@survivalsuccess.org. And I always like to say to people, like, the magazine is for our community, and it's about sharing those experiences that are going to get us right mentally, right, spiritually, our relationship with God, and financially. And I don't like to limit people when it comes to like what they share, you know. So I always say, if you want to share a poem, share a poem. If you want to share a story, share a story. If you want to do an article, share an article. If you want to share a video, you know what I mean, like a music video. You know, I've done that before. I've had people share interviews that they've done. You know, if you want to share that, like I'm always open to different ways where we can get information out to our community. And so yeah, and if you like the ebook, like I said, if you contact me, you can email me once again, info@survivalsuccess.org, or just join our mailing list on the website, and I'll make sure I get that sent over to you.
All right, wonderful. Sound good. People heard that information and follow him too. He's doing this man's doing great things in the community, man. Being a problem solving activist for youth and for men and women too. So what's next for you?
Next, right now I'm in a place right now where I'm really just getting focused on God. You know, just figuring out where He wants me to go next. Right now, I've been in a place where He's giving me a complete blank slate, and He's just like, you just gotta have faith, and you just gotta go with the flow and do what I tell you to do. And I'm just like, okay, but like I said, you know, we have the bonfire that's getting ready.
Right? Can you have a flyer for that? A flyer?
Yeah, the flyer should be out sometime next week.
Okay.
The flyer is pretty much done. I just gotta add some more details to it, so it'll be out next week. But it's June 26th at 8 p.m. for the men. The youth program is currently going. That is Mondays at 6 p.m. If you have a youth between the ages of 13 and 18 that would like to join the program, just contact me. We introduce.
Is that in person?
No, it's on Zoom right now.
Okay, it's a flyer. Send me that too. A flyer. Yeah. Okay.
Yep. And so we introduce them to different entrepreneurs, different community leaders. You know, that community. And like I said, we'll see what's next. I'm still waiting on God to give me the download and see what He wants me to do for this next year.
Right.
Besides school and besides, you know, everything else. So I'm excited. I'm trying to figure out what's next, just like you are.
Yeah. So it's me trying to get the Pad the Greatest and trying stuff for couples, and you gave me some ideas for the men too. And I want to talk to you offline about what I want to do. So because I'm actually doing like a guys' night. So but I'm now just telling it now. I'm gonna do a part 2 today. I want to talk to you outside of this. Yeah. So. Do you have any final words for us? Because you said you're a father, you're an activist. Are you two kids, young men? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Of course.
No, I have a daughter. That's why I asked. I want kids, you know.
I got 2 boys.
Okay, I thought your man had a daughter. That's why I was like, that's why I asked. I wanted to ask you, what are your final words for those who are young fathers? Because you say you were 17 and now being an activist. What advice you had to them that you wish someone told you when you became a father, or that they're not doing this now?
I would say step outside your comfort zone. There is like a lot of times we get so comfortable in the pond that we're in, and we really don't realize that there is a whole world outside of us. And it requires us to be vulnerable. It requires us to get uncomfortable. And a lot of times as men, we don't like to do that.
Right.
But I would definitely encourage all the men and women as well, step outside your comfort zone. And let God guide you to where He wants you to be. You know, like first and foremost, I always like to say to people, like, God has to come first in every single thing that you do. And that's the only way I've been able to have the peace of mind that I have. You know, so let God guide you to where He wants you to be. And don't be afraid to step outside your comfort zone. Don't be afraid to do the things that nobody else is doing. Don't be afraid to step out on faith and put your all into something that God is telling you to do. And so that's the advice that I would give to all the men out there, even the women as well, because we really have to get focused on purpose and passion over making an income. And passion over surviving. Purpose and passion over the instant gratification.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And like also like healing over money.
Right. Because our community right now is really in a state like where, like my pastor was talking about the other day, like we don't really have a conscience right now. Like our community, like there's people out here, we literally have lost all sensitivity to the things that are going on around us, the things that happen on a regular basis, the things that go on within ourselves. Like we've lost sensitivity, you know what I mean? And we really have to get back to understanding, caring first and foremost about what's going on within us, what's going on within our families, and what's going on in our communities, and making sure that we're in a position to add to that. So that would definitely be my last words of encouragement for all the people out there.
Wow. Thank you, George. Thank you for your time and just coming on the show. We're going to promote the bonfire coming up, and also the Young Men's program that's on Zoom on Monday. Every Monday?
Yep,
every Monday at 6. So I'm going to definitely promote that, because we did get our young men together and just have those conversations as well. Like you say, you want to be a contributor here grow. Just reach out to them, info@Survival to Success. It would be an article, a poem, or video. Just you want to put your voice out there to do it. You know what I mean? Because all of us have a story to tell, and you never know who our stories are impacting. So again, thank you, Joy, to be part of the show. Thank you for being the man that you are, especially as 2021. A lot of men are not stepping up, but you are stepping up. And just creating legacy for yourself, for your two sons as well. So, thank you so much for being part of the show. For those who are watching, Adrian, Patricia, thank you for watching the show. We'll definitely have this on our page. We will see you on next week. We will be back with another show. Please stay safe, stay cool. Supposed to be hot the next couple of days. Stay safe, drink a lot of water, be mindful. So this is saying COVID's still out here, y'all. Be safe and be also. I want to recognize the kids who are graduating this week. You made it. Congratulations to you, your accomplishments. Just focus on that. Focus on graduating and get that diploma because you made it through this pandemic, and now you are going to the next level. So, with that being said, be safe and keep God first. We'll see you on Lauren next Saturday for another episode of the Romans Travel to Experience radio show.